Hi, I'm Brian Tsao, and I'm the executive chef of Mira Sushi and Izakaya in New York City, and I'm here for forkandplate.com to show you how to make dumplings. So here I have my ingredients for my dough. We're going to pour our dry ingredients, which is our flour and our salt, into a larger bowl so that we have room to mix the dough together. I'm going to pour in our water. I remember doing this with old ladies in China, and they always said that if you made your dough correctly, that every piece of flour or every bit of flour should come off the surface of the bowl. I'm just going to knead the dough in my bowl. I'm going to try to take every piece of flour and turn it into one single mass. All right, so my dough's almost come together. I'm just going to knead it a little more, and now I'm trying to develop the gluten in the flour. And as I'm kneading, I'm making these old Chinese ladies back in Beijing very happy. I barely have anything left in my bowl. I'm actually very proud of myself right now. I'm folding the dough into itself, roll it into a ball, and it's coming back nicely. I got the right amount of gluten. I'm gonna put it back into my bowl, cover it with a piece of plastic wrap so it doesn't develop a dry skin, and let this rest for a minimum of an hour. So now that we've made our dough and we're letting it rest, while we're letting it rest, we're gonna start to put together our dumpling filling. So first we're gonna start off with our pork, again into a bigger bowl that will give us room to properly mix. Chinese chives, we're gonna put everything into the bowl, and now we're going to add in several flavoring agents. First one being soy sauce. What is Asian cuisine without soy sauce? Sesame oil, a little bit of salt, cornstarch to bind the meat mixture together, a little bit of sugar, rice wine, and here are my two secret ingredients for anything Chinese cuisine, one being white pepper, and then ginger essence. I was taught to use ginger essence by a Chinese lady who did not like the texture of ginger, but liked a hint of ginger. So she would chop up her ginger, let it soak in some water overnight, and then squeeze out the juice, and you have ginger essence. It's really ginger juice, but essence sounds so much better. We're just gonna fold all of our ingredients together until you get a single mass. Okay, so I got my meat mixture ready, and that is ready to go. I'm gonna put this aside and start rolling out my dough. So now the dough has rested, and if you take a look here, if I press onto that dough, it doesn't bounce back to its original shape, so I know it's ready to go. And first order of business is we're gonna cut it into strips. We're gonna roll them out long, and we're going to roll it out like so. So you get a cylindrical shape. And now we're gonna cut them into little pucks. After we've cut them, we're gonna dust it with more flour, and we're gonna press each one down. And here I have a little tool here. In Chinese, it is called a gun, or direct translation is a stick. And here's the fun part. You are going to use your gun, or your stick, and you are going to press the dough out. And you're just going to slightly turn the dough and then press it again with your guan. Now, it's important to note that when you're pressing into the dough, you don't want to go beyond the center. You do want to have a little extra dough in the very middle, and that's going to be very important for the next part. So now we've rolled out our dumpling skins, and we're going to begin to fill it. Hold the skin in your hand, kind of cup it, and fill it with a little bit of meat. I kind of brush the edge of the skin as I'm kind of cleaning my knife, but it also moistens the edge of the skin to allow it to adhere together. Now I'm going to pack our dumpling, kind of squeeze it together like that. I'm cupping it slightly so that it gets a nice round shape to it. And there we have a rolled dumpling. I'm gonna place it onto a tray that has been lined with some cornstarch. After you've made your dumplings, you can keep them on this tray and put them into a freezer and eat them at a later time, or just go ahead and boil it, which is the next step. Now that we have our dumplings ready, we're going to cook them. And it's very important that the water is at a rolling boil. We're going to place our dumplings in. I'm just putting them in one by one so I don't get any splashback, but all the old Chinese ladies in Beijing are calling me a wussy right now. going to just move them around very gently. And now we wait until they begin to float to the top, and that's usually a good indication that the dumpling's ready to eat. So our dumplings have been cooking for about 4 to 5 minutes, and I can already start to see them floating to the top. If you want to take a closer look, the skin is slightly translucent, and the meat is brown rather than pink. Our dumplings are ready, and here we have Chinese dumplings. Now that our dumplings are cooked, I wanted to run you through how to make an accompaniment to your dumplings. One of my favorite being chili oil, finely cut green onion. I love my spice, so I am going to put in some Thai chili, fresh garlic. We have Chinese vinegar, finally a little bit of sugar to kind of round out the flavor. I am also going to add in some soy sauce. It gives it a familiar flavor, but this will more or less be the base of my sauce. Mix it together, and now you got a perfect condiment to your dumplings. Enjoy. Now I know what's my first piece of merchandise I'm gonna market.
Yeah.
Stick. Stick. So you have to imagine what my reaction was when I first learned how to do raviolis in culinary school. I was like, you can do it like that too?
Yeah.